Welcome to OPACA's Shop Talk Series Online Edition. This is Digital Day. My name is Mel Limas, and before we get started, I want to introduce OPACA to you. The Ontario Professional Ag Contractors Association started in 2017 to fill a growing gray area in agriculture. As you know, more and more farmers are relying on custom operators to do one or more of their field operations, whether that's forage harvesting, manure application, or spraying. And these contractors face different regulations, different rules of the road, labor laws, and just different business issues. So this is an organization just for contractors to represent us to government, to promote our member services to farmers, and to support us to be all that we can be. We have a new website at opaca.net that has a find a contractor feature. So we hope that you'll take advantage of it and that it'll be a useful tool to reach new customers. So I'll introduce Todd now. Todd is one of the newest members of the OPACA board. He is an Aggie and a CCA and a second generation at Clean Field Services doing crop inputs, agronomy, custom spraying, and nutrient management plans. So take it away, Todd.
So good morning and good afternoon to everyone that's joining us today. I think we'll get right into it. Our first presenter is going to be Corey Weber. He is with Premier Equipment. He started in large ag sales and switched over to precision ag. He's from a dairy farm originally, just outside of Formosa, and now they're in beef and cash cropping. And he also spent 3 years with John Deere Canada in Regina before he moved back to Ontario. So Corey, take it away.
Oh, having a bit of a problem here with sharing my screen. Just give me a sec.
Happens every time.
It's a problem with multiple screens. It's sharing the wrong one.
Exactly. It can be very embarrassing.
So good morning, everyone. I'm going to be talking about Operations Center and some of the work planning tools that are available in there, specifically the free tool, My Jobs. This tool is meant to unify invoicing, scheduling, dispatching, and the machine telematics with the cropping side. So it's a free tool. You can go in, you can plan out all your fields, you can plan out which machine is going where, which operator is doing what work, and then you're able to pull that information out and use it for your billing later on. So the purpose with My John Deere, it's meant to be a hub for the machine telematics, the cropping data, any other data that you want to throw in there, and then allow you to either pull that out into PDF reports, Excel reports, or share that with other software companies. Last time I checked, I believe Deere was up to about 180 software partners through the API access. So make it very open to pull data out and share it with other people, share with other agronomists if you want to share the raw data, and makes it a very valuable tool for many customers. But with My Jobs, what it's doing, it's allowing you to take your fields or plan fields with custom farming and show where the machines are and where the fields are and plan out what jobs you're going to be doing for those customers. So you can see on the screen, this is just an example. There's some planned application, which is the blue fields, and some planned tillage. And then you can go in and assign it to certain operators, certain machines. You can reschedule it different days all through the web interface, and then this information will show up on the operator's phone or iPad in the machine. The nice thing about this is it eliminates virtually all paper in the cab. As long as you have an iPad or an iPhone, you're able to pull all the data through and have it all traceable back to Operations Center. So here's a close-up, just an example. You can see there's application planning, harvest, seeding, tillage, baling, conditioning, scouting, soil sampling, even transport. Miscellaneous, if you want to have it planned out that someone's going out and cleaning fence lines as a custom job, you can go in and manually create a task, but just allows you to really customize what information is going out to that operator. Here's a close-up. I made a tillage task, so you can just see, you can plan out which client, so which field, when you want it done, any special descriptions or instructions for that field, tillage depth. You can assign multiple fields to that job. You can change the order on the fly and have it show up to that operator's phone. Then here's for the tillage, what you can see, extra information that the operator has to log. So they would, in the app, they'd have to go in and fill out these fields, and that information would then come back into Operations Center for full digital traceability. And then if you're doing harvest or application or seeding, there's more information available under the operation specific section. Just tillage really just document the depth there. Now this is the actual app view for the operator. So you can see this from the iPad. There's 3 jobs planned, and this is open up that tillage one. So you see what fields are planned, what equipment is included, what machine for the tillage, additional instructions would appear. They click on that additional information. Notes would be where they can actually type extra notes. So if the operator noticed tile blowouts or any information you want to share with that customer you're doing custom work for, you can add that in there. And then the invoicing information, that's those extra questions that you are requiring that person to fill out. So it's logged with that machine data. So an overview showing the map side. Again, this is pulling from the fields that you have entered in Operations Center, so the operator can see where everything is and try to make a judgment call. They can actually share their location from the iPad. So if you have a machine that doesn't have JD Link telematics to share location with Operations Center, you can actually use the iPad or your phone or an Android device to share that location back into the cloud. So it makes it not, it's not green specific, but it works better with green, but you're allowed to use it with anything you want. This view here is actually what the manager would see. So you can see an overview of what the operators are working on, what is done, what's not, what's planned. And on the fly, you can go in and reassign jobs. You can change it to different operators, and you can kind of keep track of what's happening with the operators. So the nice thing too is you can pre-make multiple jobs and leave them unassigned. So you can go through, have everything ready, Monday morning, come in and then start signing jobs. And you can say, okay, this operator is doing this on Monday. I'd like this done on Tuesday. Maybe this should happen here on Wednesday. And then if you want to add anything on the fly, there's that little plus icon in the upper corner. You can add a job here from your iPad or your phone, or you can go back into the web interface and add that information back in. The cool thing that is coming with this is they're going to be rebranding My Jobs into Integrated Work Manager. And then if you have a Gen 4 display in your machine and JD Link telematics, you'll actually be able to see those jobs show up right in the display for the operator. So it would be able to eliminate the phone entirely and have all digital records start to finish. So this will be coming out next year, but I just want to show people that full integration is capable and you can have everything right start to finish for the operator in the cab. I will be showing more live demonstrations in kind of the section in my chat room, but I just want to go through that very briefly for everyone.
Well, thanks for that one, Corey. I guess the one question that I have was related to the scheduling. Something we sometimes find when you're looking for a software, if you schedule XYZ jobs for, say, Friday, and then we get rained out on Friday, and those jobs are still kind of on the top of the list. But is it fairly easily just to like move them to another day, say if it were Tuesday or Wednesday when the fields have dried up again?
So if you're using the app, it's pretty much drag and drop. So you can click on the task on the calendar and move it to the next day that you would want it, or you can tap on it and edit that information. Or you would go into the web interface back here. So along that side tab, if this would be expand, you could actually see a job list. I do have some screenshots of that. So here would be your jobs list. You can click on these and also reassign them to different days and change it on the fly also.
Perfect. Thank you for that one. Yeah. If just a reminder, if anybody has any questions for any of the presenters, you can either ask them in the chat to the group or send them to myself directly. Our next presenter is Ag Force, which is based out of Germany. Presenting to us will be Manuela, I believe is how you pronounce the name. And they've been with that company since its start. So take it away.
Okay, hi, Manuela here from Berlin, and I want to give you a brief overview regarding the USPs from AgForce. What is the challenge for the contractors right now? The digital transformation of agriculture is in a full progress, and more smart technology is entering the market. But which of the more than 100 systems is right for contractors now? AgForce is a management software specialized in the needs of contractors, and AgForce has more than 6 years experience in this area and works closely with the largest contractors in Europe. Why AgForce is the right system for your contractor's business? AgForce, you can create and manage orders anytime and anywhere, whether from the office or from the road. And you have the possibility to generate an order only with 7 clicks. So that works from the calendar view you see in the corner right, or you can do that via the app. With only 7 clicks, you can from everywhere. Each employee has the possibility to create his own orders. And you have a direct assignment for an order. That means working time, machine hours, and work equipment are directly assigned to an order. With AgForce, you can manage also your fleet. The fleet hangs on the orders right now, and all the employees see each other in that column. You have a real-time overview of all of your drivers. With the help of the live positioning, you can see anytime where all your employees and machines are. And employees keep track. So with the navigation can be started to fields, colleagues, customers, and special points. And these special points you are able to add via web application, or all drivers can do that via the app. With AgForce, you have secure recording of order data. That means record working hours and GPS data. The data collection goes via mobile app. It's available for Android or iOS, and it's working online and offline. And we can visualize the GPS data. And in the office, you can see always the progress and the location of your drivers and how many customers work like this. They create the invoicing from that GPS data, and they invoice the right number of the acres. With AgForce, you can create invoices with just 1 click from the order. You see here the order overview. It's like this, only 1 click, and you have your invoices right now. Automated customer-specific invoice generation, and you also have the possibility for the payroll accounting for your employees. You can send personalized invoices, and you see from the order directly if it's a profit or loss. And last but not least, you can recognize with AgForce which order is really profitable. We developed a traffic light system to see in that order directly, immediately, which order is profitable or which is not profitable. And uncovering your potential, measuring the effectiveness of machines and employees. So that was a briefly overview from all our USPs from AgForce. If you have more questions, please go to the chat, and we can give you more information.
Thank you. One question I'll have is, I think I understood correctly that your software is strictly based off of the mobile app in the machine. There's no direct connection to the machine in any way?
Currently not, but next year we want to connect the AgriRouter.
Thank you. Yeah. Our next presenter is Mike, and he is with Farm Backup Task. This is a Danish software for tracking the tasks, and I believe it does invoicing as well. Mike, take it away.
Right, thank you, Todd. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep, I think
Can you
so.
guys all see my screen?
That looks
Okay,
good.
perfect. So yeah, hello and welcome. My name is Mike Tonner, and I'll be walking you through Farm Backup Task. And just wanted to say thank you one more time to Mel and Sanka for putting this on. I know it took a lot of hard work. And yeah, let's get right into it. So Farm Backup Task, what is this? It is a time tracking system for custom ag operations and farmers. And ultimately, this software will help digitize your daily operations, improve communications between the field and the office, and ultimately help eliminate paper job sheets. So you're not scrounging around trying to find those scraps of paper, looking for that notebook in the back of the truck. And just a little bit about our company. So we were founded in 2015 by our two co-founders who are both farmers. They grew up on the farm and they've really developed the company into what it is today. So we operate in 3 strategic markets: Europe, Australia, and New Zealand. And now this year we've officially opened our doors to North America. And we're really happy to be featured by OPACA just because we believe there's a really solid product market fit between Task and your members. So what you're looking at right here, this is just a quick screenshot of the mobile app. So either managers or folks in the office, they can create job sheets and delegate that to the individual operator. Or more commonly, if that work is just verbally communicated, those operators can create those job sheets themselves from the mobile app. And we help you track a lot of different things. So payroll hours, so when did they start and end their day? More specifically, how did they spend their time throughout the day? Whether it be in preparation, effective time, or downtime, transportation. And then when they submit that information, that can all get organized back in the office. So here you can see the desktop platform where the manager and office administrators, they can organize this information into different reports and drill down into this data to find key insights. So just a couple quick key features. Like I said, primarily it's time data, but obviously those operators, they can attach relevant job data. So how many acres were covered, products applied, bales, bale count, things like that. It's a real-time cloud-based system. So, you know, everything that the guys are doing out in the field, that office team can have that real-time visibility into where they are, what equipment they're using, and so on. We also offer some really robust planning features that will help you schedule future work, visualize that information, and then obviously everything has to be very weather dependent. So if those plans need to get changed, we can help you forecast that work. We offer turn-by-turn directions to that client's field, and also one-click invoicing with a couple of our integrations with QuickBooks Online and Xero. So how easy is it to get started? It's very easy. We offer a free 14-day trial of the software, so you can actually start customizing it, start using it right now if you'd like. We also suggest scheduling a personalized demo where we can walk you through the whole system, top to bottom, answer your questions in a more specific context to your business. There's no initial sign-up fee, there's no hardware, and no minimum contract terms. So you're not locked into a year-long or 2-year-long contract. And our pricing model is 30 Canadian dollars per active employee per month. So now it's time. I just want to show you really quick intro to the product. So I want to walk you through what would a day, a week, a month look like in one of our customers' shoes. So here I pulled up this calendar overview, and I've got several different operators here. And I can see Eric, Jacob, Michael, they're all working right now on these individual grain cart tasks. this is showing you, what they're doing in the moment. And I can also schedule team to do tasks. So the whole team would have visibility into those jobs. And when they submit that information for the day, that is going to appear here in the submitted tab. And I might approve these on a weekly basis. And then when it comes time to actually bill that client, I would filter by, I could do just GM Farms for only forage harvesting. For a certain date period, I can get an overview of these jobs, select those, see the total number of products and total hours it took to get that work done. And then I can hit create invoice, and that it will open it up in a template format in QuickBooks or Xero. So happy to walk you through what the mobile app would look like in the breakout session. And yeah, looking forward to answering your questions. Thank you, guys.
Thanks for that, Mike.
Yeah.
Question on the mobile app. Is it able to work offline? Like if, for example, you were in a field or in pockets of rural Ontario, we still struggle with good cell coverage. Is it able to store that information that you input into it and then say sync up when you get back into cell coverage or back to the shop on Wi-Fi or something?
Exactly. So the mobile app, it does require some form of connection in order to create that initial job sheet for the day. So hopefully that's done, first thing in the morning when the operators pull up to the yard, and if they drive off into the rural countryside, no coverage, the app will still be timing them and ticking away in the background. There might be a delay of information until they get back to the network, then the data will flow through.
Perfect. Our last presenter is Cole Powers, and he is the founder of IntelliCulture, which is local to me, a tech startup in Waterloo, and they focus on machine telematics. So let's hear what Cole has to say.
Hey, good morning and afternoon, everyone. I've dropped my video off just for the sake of my internet dropping out here in Ontario. To your point there, Todd. But yeah, excited to chat with everyone today about IntelliCulture. As Todd mentioned, I'm one of the co-founders of the company based here in Ontario. So we're a local startup, been around for a couple of years now, and have got our commercial product out in the field now, thankfully. Really at our core, we're focused around simplifying equipment management for the farm. And so we do that in sort of three simple steps. We have a plug-and-play device that growers can install into the machinery in less than 2 minutes, or we're working as well to integrate with existing hardware of some of the newer machines. The idea here, though, is even if this is an old orchard tractor, for example, that doesn't have any sort of fancy plugs or outlets, we can go right to battery. So really trying to capture sort of all colors on the farm. From there, within seconds, that data gets streamed over cellular to our IntelliCulture portal, and then we provide actionable insights based on those equipment devices that are communicating there. So I'll walk you through really quickly, super high level of what our product is offering here. We offer data in sort of three domains. First and foremost, we have our fleet monitoring software, and that's really all around the health of your machinery. So rather than task planning, this is a portal and reporting combination that looks around maintenance planning and alerting of machine issues that might increase operation costs in your fleet. So whether this is anywhere from you've got a DEF filter code going off in one of your sprayers, for example, down to planning out simple oil changes. That's sort of landing that fleet monitoring domain. On the crop monitoring side, this is around more operations. So looking at the actual tasks that are getting done on the farm and ensuring compliance of employees. So very, very high level view of what's getting done from your business standpoint. And then finally, this cab monitor is really driving, it's sort of an extension of that crop monitoring software, but that's meant to be launched on the operator's phone. Specifically, we see this used in a lot of horticulture operations, so spraying of cherries and apples, for example. If you can picture Google Maps, but basically in an orchard, that's the goal there of that crop monitor, or sorry, cab monitoring software. So I'll do a deep dive into each of the three domains in a little bit more granularity here. So on the fleet monitoring side, the portal will look something like this, where it's really around automated maintenance planning. So growers or contractors are able to input maintenance schedules that you would be wanting to track to. And then because we have that plug and play device in your machine, we can track based on calendar time, engine hours or kilometers driven by the machinery, and automatically flag upcoming and overdue maintenance for you. Then we also offer weekly equipment summary reports. So typically these are delivered to our clients Monday mornings, and this highlights some of the key information of your fleet. Recognizing that a portal might be not the most the best way to access your information, especially in the busy season. The idea with these reports is to sort of summarize that information for you at your fingertips. So this is what you would see on the portal side. As I mentioned, you can do your maintenance scheduling here, and we automatically will be tracking to upcoming and overdue maintenance for all of the machines in your fleet, highlighting that at a very high level view for you. In addition to that, we digitize all of those records, so there's no more lost journals in the operation there, and they're easily accessible if you ever need to go back on them. From there, this is what you'd see with that reporting combination now. So you can see that we've pulled out essentially all of the diagnostic codes or check engine lights from the fleet that were installed in here, as well as the upcoming and overdue maintenance, as well as highlighting any usage alerts that would be contributing to depreciation or extra wear and tear on your machinery. So for example, if you wanted a speeding alert built in, that's easy enough for us to facilitate in these reports. On the crop monitoring side, very, very similar aesthetic and layout. The goal here, though, is like I kind of alluded to, is all around task planning on the farm or in your contracting business. And our reports are simply historical coverage maps for you, as well as breakdowns of usage. All of this is automated, so there's no need to like input data. It's all managed through our plug and play device. And typically we send out these reports every day, as opposed to every week, like our equipment reports. That can, of course, be dialed into the contractor's needs, though. So on the portal side for crop monitoring, you'd see it's very similar layout, but instead we're looking at particular tasks. So you can build in schedules based on your fields or your blocks that you might be doing some work on, and we're automatically tracking the coverage of those fields and highlighting overdue and upcoming regions that would need to be managed on the operation. And on the reporting side, this is something that you would see in that you would be able to have a high-level overview of all the work being done in your operation, and you can click in to zoom into specific fields within the reports. Or if you can see the screen change there, we also break it down by field, the total number of hours or acreage, and this is especially useful, we found, for contractors for billing purposes. So you can have a very clear and automated view into what machines have been on what fields and the acres spent there. Lastly, our cab monitoring software, and this is again meant to be used in the cab. So the idea here is, especially if you look at these screenshots, actually I can just go to the next screen. The idea is if you're in an orchard tractor, for example, going out spraying cherries, and you might have, say, 10 machines out in the field, this gives clarity and certainty into whether specific rows have been sprayed or not by other folks in the operation. So you can see we've got two different colors of machines going right here. So the red would have been the active operator in that scenario, and then the blue would be highlighting all of the other machines in the operation. So that's a very, very high level overview. Happy to do a little live demo and dive into some more granularity or detail in the breakout room here. But yeah, that's our offerings at IntelliCulture, and happy to answer any questions.
So Cole, you do not have a mobile app in the machine necessarily, like your machine data, some of your events there that you had, like your speeding and such, like they're not tied to an operator, they're tied strictly to the machine.
Yeah, you got it. So we have this little device here that installs into the machine, and then it's all mapped based on that.
Okay. So I think that concludes the presentations we had for today. This is where it's up to the rest of us to ask the questions, because I find when it comes to software, every business is very unique. Everybody does things. We might be in the same industry, but we all do it just a little bit differently. So I think this is where, you know, all the viewers here need to, if they have any questions, reach out, ask them now. And let's get some good discussion going.
And even presenters asking each other questions. Like we're all in this together trying to get better. So I could see already how a few of you could work together and make the super product. Mark?
I have a question. Well, it's kind of a comment, some feedback for all the presenters. So a problem or an issue on our farm would be like trying to control traffic of trucks, grain carts, and like manure tankers. So, and maybe one of you already have this option. Is there any way we can so just lay out a field plan, like we're going to 3 or 4 fields per day? Can I flag certain entrances, like use this one, don't use this one, manage truck traffic on like a narrow farm lane or a back road, like say, here's a location you can pull off the road. The next thing would be in the field, can I create zones? Like I want to create traffic zones. It's not going to be as fine-tuned as like a sprayer tram line, like down to the inch. I'm just saying, you know, generally this is like take this path to head north to find the harvester or spread your load of manure just to avoid a wet spot or whatever. And then the machines, like each individual truck or operator would have an alert or whatever if they're out of that zone, or at least if the other thing is the chief operator can change the traffic plan throughout the day too, as we're harvesting in a different portion of the field, lay out the route differently. I don't know if that exists. It's maybe a little over the top, but I'm just giving some feedback. One of you should make that and then I'll buy it.
I think you should call it the Micromanager Pro.
Yeah, Micromanager Pro.
Any responses to that? It's a really good question.
Yeah, I can hop in a little bit here on our end. That's a really, really interesting use case, Mark. We don't have specific route planning necessarily in our IntelliCulture software just yet. But what we do have is sort of the regions that you're speaking about there. You can put those in, and we do basically geofencing alerts on those regions. So what we can do is launch a map, more or less, and then operators can see their tractor or their semi in that map, and then sort of drive towards those regions, and then we can flag alerts based on entrance and exit of those. So we're close, but not quite as, I guess, user-friendly as it would need to be, I think. But that would be some of my thoughts there.
Thanks.
Mark, would the same go for employees? Like we'd want to track their phone in their pocket and be like, how much coffee did they drink? That kind of stuff?
Well, we wouldn't have to go that far into it, but and specifically our operation, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day, the shift, you'll have a truck driver change. Yeah. And it's up to driver A to tell driver B, oh, take this route, don't go through that lane, whatever. But that doesn't always happen. So it just save a whole lot of confusion. And yeah, like Cole said, like in the dark, you're trying to find a forage harvester in a 100-acre field of corn that's 12 feet tall. You can't. Sometimes people just drive around in circles looking for the forage harvester. I think there's big potential in something like this, but it's out of my reach to develop it, so I want someone else to do it.
Yeah, Mark, just wanted to talk about what we offer right now too with Farm Backup. So we offer live GPS location tracking in the app. So that's something that would be granted to the entire team. So if in that exact scenario, if it's at nighttime and grain cart driver's trying to find the combine harvester, he can actually see how far away he is in the app. And kind of like what Cole was talking about earlier too with geofencing, we are building in that direction soon. But I'm not sure about alerts if that's on the roadmap just yet, but that is something that we're definitely putting some bricks towards.
Say from Deere standpoint, we have a separate product that's called Ag Logic. It's meant for ag service providers for spraying and nutrient application that can do flags and route planning like what you're talking. but where it lacks is planting, harvest, planting, miscellaneous jobs, crop scouting. Like it was originally developed for sprayers and nutrient, and it's been in the States for about 5 years now. It's going to be coming to Canada, but it's not as full featured and has as many job options as My Jobs does. So eventually they're going to be porting a lot of those features over from AgLogic into the My Jobs portal and unifying those two products. But just for someone who is only sprayers, that's where AgLogic would be a better fit and have those type of tools like what you're talking about, Mark. But if someone was doing custom manure application or custom harvest, it would not be a good fit for that person.
Okay, from Agforce, we are also able to create orders where you can have a fleet of drivers, and especially for mice harvesting, where drivers can see the harvest machine, and that's where we can navigate to the machine. And it's also interesting for transporting manure. You can say with truck standing there, and you can navigate with the mobile app to the tank.
And you can also set poise, so we call it poise for different things on the field, and you can also navigate to this one. So you can everything you want tag with that poise. Yeah, and give him a name, and everybody can navigate to this poise.
I've got another question here, and I'm not really sure who it's directed at, but I think I'll get directed to everybody, and that is, how do we track unpowered implements? So the example that was given is something like a cultivator that might get hooked onto multiple tractors. I'm suspicious this is going at the maintenance side. So how do we track maintenance on an implement that doesn't necessarily have an engine, or how do we track how much that machine got used in a given year?
Hey, Todd, I can answer that one. So we offer a machine statistics tool, and it's everything like you just said, not only self-propelled, but also those implements. So after about maybe 6 months of using the software, we can show you how efficient that implement might be. And then also break that down even further as to what clients you've been using that implement on a breakdown of, time spent using that piece of machinery. So I can show you that if that's something you want to take a look at in the breakout rooms.
It's a good question.
Yeah, I could touch on our end as well. Right now, we do require power from these devices. Definitely like a fatal flaw. We've had a number of folks come to us asking for sort of self-powered unit. You can track right now in our maintenance planning software. You can add in the software itself, like implements and track based on calendar dates for maintenance. In terms of getting specific usage, in terms of hours and kilometers, we've done custom installations where we basically will like take an ATV battery and we've got like a little engineered harness to put a solar panel to it as well. It's definitely not the cleanest, but I do know of some other like fleet tracking folks that have some battery powered devices as well. So I'd be happy to connect you with those folks. It would be helpful too.
I'd be really interested from hearing from everyone else on the call, like, where are you using a lot of apps, or are you using Excel, or are you still using paper? Like, I'd love, there still is, or for all of you to reply to this, like, what is the biggest barrier to getting onto these apps? Is it because we're still using napkins, or where is that sort of disconnect? I'd love to hear from everyone, like, how are you doing on your operations? I know Mark's like an Excel whiz. Definitely we're willing to take the next step. It's just you got to invest a lot of time to get and set up into a new app. That's what my perspective is. But what do you guys think? Mark still loves paper. Yeah, that's true.
So Mel, to touch on that, so we went to app-based timesheets this year, and it works great because I don't have to chase the employees for their hours, but people still forget to clock out at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And that's my biggest problem is going even for the invoicing, right? If they're not putting in their end times, the data is still not accurate. I get it in the office without having to chase them, but that is probably my biggest hurdle from going 100% app based on invoicing.
Yeah, good point.
So I'm not sure if anybody wants to touch on that.
If our customers haven't been using the app for, I think it's more than 6 hours, then we should send them a little pop-up notification. Hey, are you still working on this task? Then they can submit that information, and then the folks in the office, they have total control over everything, so they can edit those submitted job sheets. And then just help you try to get all this in one place as well.
And Mike, is your software compatible with timesheets as well as job tracking? So I have basically my employee timesheets and all of my invoicing out of the same platform.
Gotcha. So is that just for client invoicing and then tracking your team's hours for payroll, you said?
Yeah. So if I'm using 2 different apps, I'm paying for 2 apps, right? If I can do it all out of one, it saves me a cost too.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of crossover functionality that we offer.
Mark, you had a good question too. Just if you stop using it, is your data still there 5 years later? Why would you need it? Manuela?
Agforce is able to have all in one hand. We can create invoices for the customers, and on the other hand, we have the payroll accountancy for the employees. So we track the time by app, and on one hand, the time goes to the payroll accountancy, so that we can close that in the end of the month, and then we can go to the department for the invoicing for the employees, and on the other end, we have the working times to create the invoice for our customers, for the clients.
For Deer and Operations Center, if you have Deer displays and JD Link, you can have the crop data flow right into Operations Center, and then you'll be able to pull out the reports of what machine was used, what implement was used. You can manually upload third-party displays and have your crop data tied into that. We don't offer direct invoicing tools, but you're able to export anything into a shapefile to pull that out to another program. You can have your maintenance tracked with JD Link or manually tied into that. You can pull it out to Excel, or you can pull it out to a PDF. So it's very colorblind in that sense. Just we don't offer invoicing tools to meet that final step. It just, we kind of collect it and then present it to you to analyze it and finalize it. So ideally, yes, Deere does develop the easiest tools to have a John Deere display, but if you're willing to do manual import for crop data, we can tie some of that into the job tracking for you.
Anyone else? There's a bit of a conversation on the chat here. If you, Sean, I know, yeah, you said you're using T-sheets. How is that getting on it with your employees, and how's that working for you? If you're still there. I think he's shy. Don't be shy, Sean. We'd love to hear. Just, there you go. you're all good. How is it getting your employees on it?
T-Sheets was a bit of a challenge when we started. Just getting the employees to clock in, clock out the way this should, and make sure that they're switching from multiple companies. We use T-Sheets to track hours in approximately 3 different companies as we go, and employees switch from company to company during the days. So getting them to switch and be cognizant of that switching. Once we got them onto it, it actually works really, really well. It's a very simple system, and with the direct connection with our accounting software, we basically, their timesheets get dumped in. Bridget does payroll. It's basically cut her payroll time probably in less than half. I would say that she does payroll most weeks on Sunday night, and it takes anywhere from an hour to 2 hours to do payroll for her. So it's been just the challenge of getting the employees to use it correctly was the biggest challenge.
Do any of you developers have a workaround for humans? I like that idea of the geofence. As soon as you go in, like it's giving you like clock in, clock out.
So what our customers do, because we have also the challenge to get the employees to work with the app in the beginning, and what it's working very good to pick up. It depends how many employees do you have, but pick up one or two which are efficient or which are comfortable with an app, with mobile, with technology, and where do you think, okay, that are my pro workers, and then when they are familiar with that and they are happy to work with that app, so they can take all the other employees right now, and then it's working. So start with only 1 or 2 good employees and then take off the other ones. And what our customers said, so AgForce is super simple. It's super easy to understand for the drivers, and also the point, how can we ensure that the driver stops the end time and so on. From my point of view, I think that is coming time by time. So people that work every day with that app, and after a couple of weeks or months, so it was working very well. So I did that a lot of time, and I see that with all the customers. And on the other hand, some of our customers work with extra pay in the end of the month. They say, okay, if I have all of the correct working times from the app, you get extra money from them, XYZ. And that is working very well, because they know, okay, so when I work with the app very well, I get an extra money from 20 euros or so in the month. And that is the way our customers work.
That's such a great idea. Or you get a deduction every time you got to run after someone for some paperwork.
Yeah, I don't like that one.
No, it's the carrot or the stick, but I like hitting people with carrots.
Yeah.
So,
I really like. Oh, sorry, Mel. I didn't mean to cut in there.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I really like that, like the sort of positive reinforcement of incentivizing the use. That's a really great idea there, guys. Yeah. On our end, employees and sort of like adoption has been, one of the age-old problems of it's so easy to forget to clock in or hit an extra button on an app or whatever, right? So the only way that we've been able to sort of circumvent that is just like the geofencing, like you were saying, Mel, sort of like remove the employee from it altogether and just do it based purely on automated data from the machinery. But I love that positive reinforcement that you guys mentioned. That's an awesome idea.
Would you put that on their trucks then, Cole, too? So you know where they are?
So we can do the opposite. We can do like negative reinforcement and just beep our device really loud if they're misbehaving, if you will. But I don't like to advertise that because it's a little bit micromanagey.
Mark? No. Kyle, I wondered, like you've been putting in the chat there, if you wanted to chat. We were going to get Granular on the call, but it takes too long for Granular to give an adequate.
There's a lot in there, yeah.
There's a lot in there, but you've Granular also has an app for time tracking?
Well, not really. It's all task based, and I spent a bunch of time setting it all up. And basically, for per acres, as soon as they do the task, it's all inputted into the software, and that's all good. But anything to do like with harvesting or running the forage harvester or cutting and anything, it's all time based, and you actually have to input those hours started, hours finished, and do all that. So it's an extra step or two.
Mm-hmm.
If they forget, then it really sucks because you're not writing it down and then you lose it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it takes a bit. I'm still open for other options.
Yeah. Why we're yeah, Gary, you said let's talk sometime. How about now?
Yeah.
That was more on the reply to Corey there. But,
okay.
Yeah, on actual tracking, I am open to a few different options because we're kind of a unique company here with trucking and spraying. So then a lot of the equipment things, to track a fleet of equipment, it's just sprayers, right? But on the trucking side of things, that's becoming mandatory, and you're starting to see great big fines if you don't. So we're running into, I had an MTO officer, an ex-MTO officer out last week, and he was just going over some of the stuff, and it's, yeah, there's a lot of things that you have to have straight, or else you're up to a possible $20,000 fine. So, you know, it's a little different in the agriculture because they're not fining us yet. But just from what he was saying, the MTO are not real appreciative of the farmers running up and down the roads. So I think we got to tread softly and, you know, do as much as we can to kind of go by the rules of the road, because my fear is they're going to start to crack the whip on agriculture yet too, along with trucking, because yeah, as of June 14th, it's going to be mandatory for logs, and that on the trucking side is going to be documenting. Like, there's no more just signing a paper and driving for the day. It's documenting everything. So we've, you know, the trucking industry is getting pretty creative with their logging systems, and I like hearing what's going on today, people are talking about, because it definitely, yeah, it would be nice to adapt something, but I know it's got to be difficult as a creator to create something for such a variety of companies, especially as a contractor. It's like we focus on spraying, and the next guy, you know, focuses on multiple things, right? So that is the unique part about us here. So I'm still like Mark, I still go to the paper, and then I can write it all out and then just pass it to the guys that need it.
Yeah, it's an interesting discussion. Any last questions? Else I'm gonna break you up.
I have one yet before we break up. My question is directed to everybody that thinks they like to use paper. Have you ever left the paperwork in the other vehicle, left it in the truck, and now you're in a tractor and don't have it, or had the binder jammed underneath the seat and then spilled a coffee all over it and trying to read handwriting through a coffee stain, or opened a window and had paperwork go flying through the field? And I know I've chased paperwork in the field once or twice, and yeah, I just don't understand how everybody needs a little bit of paper, but I really struggle with doing everything with paper across multiple machines.
Mark had a good point. Like, have you met our dad?
That's why we're trying to get away from paper, so that doesn't happen. I went from a big book in the sprayer trying to keep track of stuff to just having it in my pocket, because make phone calls on it anyways. It may as well be used for other stuff too.
Well, that was one of our problems, is we had maps of every field that we cover, and then we ran into an issue where all that paperwork didn't fit in a 3-inch binder anymore. And then you go much bigger than 3-inch, and the folks at John Deere don't give us enough room behind the seat for a bigger binder. And it becomes a challenge to page through a 4 or a 5-inch binder of paperwork to try and find the one that you want, when you can pull up a document and even just search for the particular name or field name that you're looking for.
Uh-huh.
And I'm not trying to bash technology, but at another point too, like we're trying to train people to not be on their phones while they're driving on the road. And I know when the time crunch is on from field to field, you're going to record the stuff on your phone app on the road.
Uh-huh.
Just try to, but yeah, it's definitely the way to go in the future. I'm just struggling with the uptake here, even as a younger generation, I would call myself. So
We always tell our guys that when they're recording stuff for planning and that, like, you're driving down the field auto steering anyways, so you may as well be doing it then. And same as spraying, like if you can be spraying down a field, and yeah, you're watching the booms and that, but you're probably going to open up your phone at some point. So record the stuff then. All you have to do at the end of the field is just input the acres sprayed, and there you go. Then you're done.
Yeah, and this sort of conversation is why Deere is going to be integrating job planning and work planning right into the screen, because you can train an operator on the screen to set up auto track and run the planter, run the combine, and it's just taking it that final step. So then, yeah, like Mark said, you don't want to be playing with the phone or entering information while they're driving field to field, but at least it shows up right on that one screen in the cab for them.
Any other questions? There's still time to ask them too. If you do have to take off now, totally understandable, and we're just grateful that you came. And the rest of you, I've made you all co-hosts, and that gives you a lot of power, so please don't abuse it. But it does mean that you can hop around from the 4 breakout rooms that we have. So if I'm